Welcome to Smart English Stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English stories. Hello, my name is Lily. I want to tell you my story. It is a story of tears, hard work, and hope. I hope you will listen to the end because my story has a special message. When I was a little girl, my life was hard. My mother was sick, and my father was gone. I had a little brother, Timmy, and a little sister, Rosie. They were so small and needed someone to take care of them. My mother loved us very much. She tried her best to look after us, but she was too sick. One day, she took my hand and said, "Lily, promise me you will take care of Timmy and Rosie." I was scared, but I nodded. I promised. My mother smiled weakly and closed her eyes. I knew I had to keep my promise, no matter what. Every day, I would wake up early. I would make breakfast for Timmy and Rosie. Sometimes we didn't have much food. I would give them my share and go hungry. I would watch them eat, and my heart would hurt. But I couldn't cry in front of them. I had to be strong. At night, when they were asleep, I would sit alone. I would cry softly so they wouldn't hear. My tears were my only comfort. I missed my mother so much. But I knew I had to be brave. I had to work hard to make a better life for Timmy and Rosie. They were all I had. One day, I heard about a place where I could learn English. I knew that learning English would help me get a good job. I wanted to give Timmy and Rosie a better life. But I had no money. I was just a little girl. How could I go to school and work at the same time? The thought scared me, but I couldn't give up. I found a small job cleaning houses. The work was hard and the pay was little, but it was something. I would clean all day, and then at night, I would study. I was tired all the time. My feet hurt, and my hands were sore. But I kept going. I couldn't let my mother down. I couldn't let Timmy and Rosie down. Sometimes I wanted to quit. The nights were so long, and the days were even longer. But when I saw Timmy and Rosie smiling, I found the strength to keep going. I would hold them close and tell them stories. I would tell them that one day, things would be better. I would tell them that one day, we would have enough food, and we wouldn't be cold at night. Years passed, and slowly my English got better. I started to understand more and more. I would practice every chance I got, even while I was cleaning. I would talk to myself, repeating words and sentences. People thought I was strange, but I didn't care. I knew I was doing it for Timmy and Rosie. One day, I got a job at an office. It wasn't much, but it was better than cleaning houses. I was so happy. I could finally buy more food and clothes for Timmy and Rosie. But I didn't stop there. I knew I had to keep studying. I had to keep learning English if I wanted to give them the life they deserved. I would come home late and study by the dim light of a small lamp. My eyes would hurt and my head would ache, but I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. Sometimes I would fall asleep with my books open. I would dream of a better future. a future where Timmy and Rosie were happy and safe. As time went on, I started to believe in myself more. I started to believe that I could do it, that I could keep my promise to my mother. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also knew that I had to try. I had to give everything I had for Timmy and Rosie. The day finally came when I finished my studies. I got a good job, a job where I could use my English every day. I was so proud, but I was also scared. I was scared because I knew that I still had a long way to go. But I wasn't alone. I had Timmy and Rosie by my side. They were my strength, my reason for everything. Now, when I look back on my journey, I see how far I've come. I see the nights I cried, the days I worked until I could hardly stand, and the times I wanted to give up. But I also see the love that kept me going, the love for Timmy, Rosie, and my mother. That love was my light in the darkness, my guide when I was lost. I want to tell you, whoever you are, that you can do it too. Life is hard and the road is long, but you can make it. If you have a dream, hold on to it. Cry if you need to, but never stop. Keep going, no matter how hard it gets. You are stronger than you think, and you can achieve anything. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gives you strength and hope. Remember, you are never alone, and you can make it through anything. Sometimes life is like a dark night, but if you keep walking, you will see the dawn. Stay strong, keep your promises, and never lose hope. After I got my first job in the office, I thought things would get easier. But I soon realized that my English was not good enough. The people at work spoke quickly, using words I didn't understand. I felt lost and embarrassed. I knew I had to get better, but I didn't know how. One day, my boss asked me to write a report. I tried my best, but when I gave it to him, he looked at me with disappointment. "Lily," he said, "this is not good enough. Your English needs improvement." His words hurt me deeply. I felt like a failure. But instead of giving up, I decided to work even harder. I knew that if I wanted to succeed, I had to master English. I started to carry a small notebook with me everywhere I went. Every time I heard a new word or phrase, I would write it down. I would look up the meaning later and practice using it in sentences. This helped me learn new words quickly. At night, I would read English books. At first, I chose simple stories, just like the ones I used to read to Timmy and Rosie. I would read out loud, practicing my pronunciation. Slowly, I moved on to more difficult books. Listening was also a challenge for me. People at work spoke so fast, and I struggled to keep up. To improve, I started listening to English podcasts and watching English movies. I would listen carefully, repeating the sentences I heard. Sometimes I would pause the movie and write down the sentences. I would practice them until I could say them just like the characters. This not only improved my listening skills but also helped me speak more naturally. There were days when I felt overwhelmed. My job was demanding, and I had to take care of Timmy and Rosie. There were times when I wanted to quit learning English. I felt like I was trying so hard, but not getting anywhere. But then I would remember my mother's promise. I would think about Timmy and Rosie and the future I wanted to give them. That thought gave me the strength to keep going, even when it was hard. I also started speaking more English at work. At first, I was shy and afraid of making mistakes, but I realized that making mistakes was part of learning. So, I pushed myself to speak, even when I wasn't sure if I was saying things correctly. I asked my colleagues for help. If I didn't understand something, I would ask them to explain. They were kind and patient, and slowly, I started to feel more confident. Another thing that helped me was setting small goals. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, I focused on one thing at a time. One week, I would focus on vocabulary, the next on grammar, and the week after that on speaking. These small goals made learning English less overwhelming. Every time I achieved a goal, I felt proud of myself. It motivated me to keep going. There was one day I will never forget. It was the day I was asked to give a presentation at work. I was terrified. Speaking in front of people was something I had always feared, especially in English. I practiced for days, standing in front of a mirror, speaking to myself. I recorded my voice and listened to it, correcting my mistakes. I even asked Timmy and Rosie to listen to my practice sessions. They were so encouraging, cheering me on every step of the way. The day of the presentation finally arrived. I was nervous, my hands were shaking, but I took a deep breath and began. As I spoke, I could see the faces of my colleagues. They were listening, nodding, and smiling. When I finished, there was silence for a moment, and then they started clapping. My boss smiled at me and said, "Well done." Lily, tears filled my eyes, but this time they were tears of joy. That day, I realized how far I had come. All the struggles, all the late night studying, all the tears had been worth it. I had not only improved my English but had also gained confidence in myself. I wanted to share my story with others, especially those who were struggling like I had. I wanted to tell them that it was possible to learn English, no matter how hard it seemed. One thing that really helped me was thinking in English. I started to train my mind to think in English instead of my native language. At first, it was difficult, but with practice, it became easier. I would describe everything around me in English. If I saw a tree, I would think, "This is a tree. It has green leaves." If I was cooking, I would say to myself, "I am cutting the vegetables. I am boiling the water." This practice helped me become more comfortable with the language. It made English a part of my daily life, not just something I studied in books. I also started writing in English. I would write about my day, my thoughts, and my dreams. Writing helped me express myself and understand the language better. I would look up words I didn't know and learn how to use them in sentences. Sometimes I would write letters to my mother, even though she was no longer with us. I would tell her about my struggles, my hopes, and how much I missed her. Writing these letters helped me heal and grow. I also found that teaching others was a great way to learn. I started helping Timmy and Rosie with their English homework. I would explain things to them, and in doing so, I learned more myself. Teaching them made me realize how much I had learned. It also made me proud to see them improving. They looked up to me, and I wanted to set a good example for them. As time went on, I started to dream bigger. I wanted to continue my education, to go to college. But I knew it wouldn't be easy. I would need to pass an English exam to get in. I was scared, but I knew I had to try. I studied hard, practicing every day. I took mock tests, timed myself, and worked on my weaknesses. There were times when I felt like giving up, but I remembered my journey so far. I had come too far to quit now. The day of the exam was nerve-wracking. My heart was pounding, and my hands were sweaty. But I took a deep breath and reminded myself of all the hard work I had put in. As I answered the questions, I could feel my confidence growing. I knew the answers because I had prepared well. When I finished, I felt a sense of relief and accomplishment. A few weeks later, I got the results. I had passed. I was accepted into college. It was a dream come true. I was one step closer to giving Timmy and Rosie the life I had promised them. I celebrated with them that night. We laughed, we danced, and for the first time in a long time, we felt truly happy. But I knew the journey wasn't over. I still had a long way to go. In college, I faced new challenges. The classes were difficult, and I had to study harder than ever. But I had learned how to persevere. I knew that with determination and hard work, I could overcome anything. I continued to use the tips that had helped me before. I still carried my notebook, still practiced speaking, and still set small goals. I also made friends who helped me along the way. We would study together, share notes, and encourage each other. There were times when I felt overwhelmed. College was demanding, and I still had to take care of Timmy and Rosie. But I reminded myself why I was doing this. I wanted to give them a better future, to make my mother proud. I would look at their faces and find the strength to keep going. They were growing up so fast, and I wanted to be someone they could look up to. One day, I received an award for my academic achievements. It was a special moment for me. I stood on the stage, holding the award, and I felt tears in my eyes. I had come so far, from a little girl struggling to learn English to a college student winning awards. I thought about my mother and how proud she would be. I thought about the promise I had made to her, and I knew I was keeping it. I want to share some tips with you, tips that helped me learn and improve my English. Practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Practice speaking, reading, and writing in English. Consistency is key. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Don't let fear hold you back. Surround yourself with English. Listen to English music, watch English movies, and try to think in English. The more you immerse yourself in the language, the faster you'll learn. Set small goals. Break down your learning into small, manageable goals. Celebrate your progress along the way. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask others for help. Whether it's a friend, teacher, or colleague, People are often willing to support you. Stay positive. Learning a new language is challenging, but stay positive. Believe in yourself and keep going, even when it's hard. As I look back on my journey, I am filled with gratitude. The road was tough, filled with struggles and tears, but it was worth it. I learned that with determination, hard work, and love, anything is possible. I want you to remember that no matter how difficult your journey is, you can achieve your dreams. Keep learning, keep growing, and never give up. Life is a beautiful journey, and every step you take brings you closer to your dreams. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to keep going, no matter what challenges you face. Remember, you are stronger than you think, and you can accomplish anything. In life, there will be struggles, but it's how you face them that defines you. Keep your head high, your heart strong, and your dreams alive. You are capable of great things, and your journey is just beginning.